Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. If you've been watching my channel for any period of time, you likely understand that something that bothers me very much is when a company tries to change the terms of the sale after the sale, even if they have zero intention of doing so. Simply having that language in their contract, I will throw them under a bus, whether it is a random company or the company that I work for that is run by my employer who can fire me if I say it. I will say it on their own channel. I don't care. This is the type of language that makes me angry. I don't think you should be allowed to change the terms of the sale after the sale, and if language exists, I will throw you under a bus for it. Now, the company I'm talking about today is a company called MoviesAnywhere.com. A brief description of MoviesAnywhere.com. MoviesAnywhere.com consolidates users' digital movie purchases from various participating studios and retailers into a single unified library. MoviesAnywhere.com allows users to link their accounts from multiple digital retailers like Amazon Prime Video, Google Play, iTunes, Vudu, and movie studios like Disney, Warner Brothers, Universal to aggregate their movie purchases into one library. Now, why is it a concern if they change the terms of the sale to something like this, where it says blah, 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 we're updating the terms of use, we're making clarifications regarding the arbitration agreement to be more specific about the procedures for resolving any disputes related to your account. And as usual, it says over here that you have a choice to opt out, which you probably have to look through their website for. However, in order to opt you into the new terms of service, well, that's just going to happen automatically in a month. So if this email went to spam, you got opted into a new terms of service without ever clicking I agree. If I want to change the terms of the sale to say that after I fix your MacBook, after you've gotten it back, after you've paid, that I want the ability to see what's going on your MacBook at any given time, I want the right to use a keylogger and then have that keylogger report everything to me, I need to get your express authorized consent. I should not have the ability to do that. I cannot just say, if you don't see this email that probably ends up in spam, as many emails that have no reply in them often do, because that's what this says, that you just get opted into a new terms of service. And the reason this is particularly bad here is because I understand why somebody may want to sue a company like this. They are aggregating media from a number of these different studios, and several of these studios have decided that even when they use the word purchase, because of what's on page 21 and 25 of their agreement, they can just take that back from you. I went over that in this video. Sony steals customers' purchase content. Piracy is completely justified. In this case, even if you paid $15 to $20, what you were actually purchasing was a temporary license that can be revoked at any given time to your media. Purchase used to mean something. Purchase used to mean that you bought it and you owned it. And this is becoming more and more of a problem. And this is why I suggest more and more people get something like this in order to store their media. I do not use a streaming service. I do not use any of this Movies Anywhere nonsense where you could take away my rights to my content and I can't even fucking sue you because you opted me into a bullshit agreement that I never agreed to. I have something called the Pioneer BDR 2213. There are many like it, but this one is mine. My BDR 2213 is my best friend. It is my life. I must master it as I must master my life. Without me, my BDR 2213 is useless. Without my BDR 2213, I am useless. I must firmware my Pioneer true. I must ensure that I only use Pioneer BDR 2213s with 10 to 15-year-old firmware on them, so that my enemy, who is trying to take my media, can never take my media off of my 200 terabyte server. Yes, right over here, I've got 12 drives in this. I use ZFS with RAID. I got a giant UPS on that thing. I got my PFSense router over here that runs PF Blocker NG, so even if I'm using my Android phone with my VPN, I'll never see advertisements. I don't got any ports open on this thing, but I can still access that server from anywhere, whether I want to turn my air conditioning on before I get home, I want to see my calendar, my notes, my contacts, or I want to watch my purchased content. You can never take it away from me. It is an MKV file, motherfucker. MoviesAnywhere.com allows users to download movies for offline viewing within its app on supported devices. It does not provide a file that can be transferred or played on non-supported devices outside of the app, which means that you have the ability to give them money and they have the ability to take that media away, the same way that Sony did. And if they take your media away, you're not able to do anything about it. They can simply rub their titties like the South Park Cable Company CEO because they forced you into arbitration. And if you deal with forced arbitration, you are dealing with an agent of the company that is being paid by the company to resolve the dispute. Forced arbitration, and not having legislation in the United States that limits forced arbitration, is Congress's version of taking their nipples and rubbing them like the South Park Cable Company CEO. The reason that I do not feel bad at all to have my BDR 2213 with a 10 to 15-year-old firmware version on it that allows me to rip whatever the fuck I want and store it on my server so that I can access it any fucking time I want. So I can watch a transcoded version on my phone if I'm traveling, or I can watch the full file when I'm at home. Right now, 10 years from now, 80 years from now, 200 years from now, if I figure out how to live that long, none of these fucking movie studios can ever take away what I bought and paid for because it's mine. I have been waiting 22 years for this shit. I got the internet in 2001. I pirated my first movie in 2002 because you fuckers didn't give me a single option to be able to purchase it online or be able to put it on my Cohen 02. Because back then, I actually, in the early days, I didn't have a Cohen 02. I had to upgrade to that later. Originally, I had a Cohen A2, and none of you fucks gave me my video in a format that could play on my Cohen A2 over here. And as a result of it, I was forced into piracy. And now, I've given you pieces of shit 22 years to give me, as a person that is so goody two-shoes that he pays $80 for Linux, to be able to purchase media and say that when I bought it, I own it. But I can't do that. When I pay you fuckers, you can take away my content at any given time. When I decide that I'm going to buy it, what I'm actually buying is a license to be able to view it until you take it away from me that only works on devices that spy on me, like smart TVs, which I went over in my video on Netflix, where I paid for 4K video, and these pieces of shit gave me 720p, unless I used a smart TV, which, as I've gone over in my videos, literally spies on you by default. Check out the anti-sponsor spot in my last video. And then when I finally decide to pay for the media, because I don't want to deal with the online not ownership bullshit. I don't want to deal with the you could take it away from me BS. I don't want to deal with you after I pay you money telling me what I can fucking play my media on, that I can't even buy the disc and rip it because you tell every company making the drive to not allow it. So then I have to scour the internet to find a drive with 10 or 15-year-old firmware so that I can do it. I don't care. At this point, you can call me a criminal, you can call me a piece of shit, you can call me a pirate. I have waited 22 goddamn years for you to give me the ability to actually buy something and say I own it. And you have not given me that. My only option right now is to go to some shit like moviesanywhere.com and pay a monthly fee for something where they can take away my content. And after they take away my content, I can't even fucking sue them. And you wonder why people become pirates. The best part about having physical media, you can't change the terms of the sale after the sale. You have no way to do it. And even if the terms of the sale say that I'm not allowed to rip it, I'll fucking do it anyway, because you have no way of telling whether or not I've done it, and you have no access. You want to come into my house and see what I'm doing? I dare you. Fuck around and find out. Come and take it. Try to come into my home. Take my BDR 2213. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Before God, I swear this creed. My BDR 2213 and I are the defenders of freedom. We are the masters of our enemy at the MPAA and RIAA. We are the saviors of private property. One of my favorite YouTube comments of all time got deleted off of one of my recent videos, and it's a good thing that I screenshotted this comment because it's one of my favorite ones, and I'm going to mention it at the end of several of my videos from now on. If buying isn't owning, then pirating isn't stealing. I sent an email to Adobe customer support letting them know that I'm changing the terms of the sale and allowing myself to own all of their software at no cost. By accepting my email, they've agreed to the terms of service. And in order to file a dispute, they need to send a certified letter weighing exactly 1.337 ounces and sealed with wax the exact color of my asshole. Failure to do so constitutes acceptance of my new terms of service. Now, why I find this so funny is because he's actually taken content from numerous of my videos and tying them together in a very humorous way. First, ABC Fitness decided that if I want to cancel my gym membership, I can't call them to do it, nor can I do it on their website, which is what I use to sign up. I need to send them a certified mail letter. Not a normal letter, because I could do that with stamps in my drawer. A certified mail letter, which for 99% of the United States requires that you make a trip to the post office, which means waiting 15 minutes to drive there, waiting 15 minutes in line, which you probably won't do, which will cause you to not cancel your gym membership. You could sign up in 5 seconds online, but to cancel, certified mail, not even normal mail. And LA Fitness does the exact same thing. When it comes to Roku, Roku decided that they were going to literally not allow you to use your television until you accepted a forced arbitration agreement. And when you tried to turn on your TV, you had one option: agree. You could not even change the source to an HDMI input unless you accepted their terms and conditions. This company decided to put forced arbitration on socks. And what they said is that you not opting out by sending us a letter constitutes acceptance of the terms of service. So they can opt you into an abusive terms of service by sending you an email. But to opt out, you need to send them a fucking letter. This is going too far. More of these companies are doing this shit where they send you a spam email to opt you into abusive terms of service and conditions that are different than what you signed when you paid for it without you hitting agree you're opted in. But if you want to opt out, you have to jump through a fucking Barnum and Bailey circus level of rings to be able to actually get back the terms of service that was present when you paid for the service. This should be illegal. You should not be allowed to do this. And the best way to fight back is to never give these people money again. Get used Blu-ray discs off of eBay. After you get a used Blu-ray disc, rip it using a drive that has a 10-year-old firmware on it, and then put it on a computer in your closet that looks like this. Put Linux on it, put a Samba server on it, have a VPN in your router so you could log in from anywhere. You could use something like Owl Files on your phone to view the original file, or you can use something like Image, which I use for all of my images, and I can also use that to store my movies as well, so that if I want to watch that movie and I have really good bandwidth, I can watch an original copy, and if I have really horrible bandwidth, but I want to watch something anyway, and I'm at a rest stop or something on a road trip, I can watch a transcoded copy, even when I only have crappy internet and 2 bars on my phone. I have the complete freedom to do whatever I want with what I paid for, and I do not feel bad one bit encouraging my 2 million subscribers to find DVD drives and Blu-rays like this so that they could rip that content, because these movie studios and these content companies, and honestly just about every company nowadays, is trying to fuck you 6 ways to Sunday and get away with it. Your way of fighting back: buy used, don't buy new, and disobey every single one of their bullshit pieces of DRM that you can, so that you can actually say that you own what you bought and paid for. Taking ownership back starts with us. If we don't do it now, when will we do it? That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. And if you're watching this moviesanywhere.com, fuck you. This here is an LG G3 OLED television that also has cat scratchers on the side. That's my way of trying to bribe my cat into not scratching my speaker. We'll see if that works. In all seriousness, this is in the menu of this television. If you go in this at any one of the default profiles and you go to privacy and terms, what you'll notice with a smart television is there's an option called do not sell my personal information. And because we live in a dystopian world, this option is not by default checked. It should be the default when you pay over $3,000 for a television that you do not sell my personal information. But even when you pay that much for a television, the default is that they will sell your personal data, which is why you should never connect a television to the internet, particularly when these televisions have microphones built into them that allow them to listen to what it is you say in your living room. There are many other settings hidden in here that talk about being able to see what it is you're watching or what you're doing, to be able to make recommendations to you and personalize advertisements to you if you browse around the television. And 100% of those options is the consumer unfriendly option, and the advertiser grabs your data, sells it, and uses it however they please option.